hello. You're watching Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia, and I am so excited about today's topic because Rhonda, a few weeks ago, you were telling me about this whole new thing called electroculture, and I have just been curious ever since to find out more. And I know you've been experimenting with this for a short time, but I'm just curious to hear more about it. So I'm going to hand over the mic. How you doing, Rhonda?
Sorry, I'm typing.
Multitasking. I wasn't sure if you
Okay,
could hear me.
I can. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Well, today's topic, I'm going to share the screen a little bit here today, is about something I came across called electroculture. And my conclusion is not in yet. But I found the topic very intriguing, and so I'll talk about what about it. I'm going to show a little video explaining what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and let's get this
Show on the
sharing
road.
going here. I got to remember how to share my screen.
Okay, but
There we
as
go.
oh,
Okay.
you got it going.
Yeah, I found it.
Cool.
Select tab to share. Oh, okay. Okay, so first, just to explain electroculture benefits. This is what attracted me. The electroculture benefits were enhanced plant growth. There's 6 benefits. No need for manure and pesticides. Um, Big nutrient uptake, water conservation, soil improvement, and higher crop yields.
Okay.
And I'll talk about especially the pesticide thing, because I've noticed with my test that the leaves on my roses don't have bugs attacking them. So just to give you a starter on that. So first thing I'm going to do is just share a video. And can you see it?
Not yet. So while you're working with that, the way I understand, you can confirm with a yes or no, but the way I understand it, electroculture is a science for growing plants, like agriculture, but with electrodes or some use of some kind of wire, or do you have to plug it in, or can you just use the wire and you don't have to plug it in? Is there some kind of, where's the electric part?
You just stick it in the ground.
Okay.
Um,
So the charge
and
comes from the earth.
this Yes,
Okay.
yes. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the video I originally saw, and it was a test where a box was placed, and a copper coil placed at the bottom of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a machine that was measuring the electrical current.
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing was happening with the coil just sitting in the box. The minute he covered that with soil, there was an electrical charge.
Cool.
And that's what intrigued me.
Yeah.
So for some reason,
that's really cool.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I think I found it.
Ta-da!
So
yep.
Here we go. Here it is. So, well, what is with? I don't know what all this.
You're showing your screen.
I'm showing my ignorance of how to do this.
No worries.
Okay, find that screen again. Did I lose it? No, I did not lose it. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm not very good at talking and acting at the same time. So feel free to converse away,
Okay.
Cynthia. On that page,
Well,
is it?
I was not a very good student, science student, in I think it was physics, where they tried to like teach us about electricity and what have you. However, I do think one of the things that Benjamin Franklin was experimenting with his kite in the middle of, in the middle of the night, in the middle of a storm, where he attached a key to it, was that he was seeing the electrical charge as being outside, but then we've also learned about grounding and the importance of grounding, and that anything that's connected to the ground, if it gets a lightning bolt, then it will go through that person and obviously like fry that individual or whatever it is that's attached to the ground. But if you're not
Mhm.
touching the ground, there isn't that connection with, it doesn't close the loop of the electrical charge. We've got a screen up front.
Mhm.
If
Okay, you
yep,
see
I
it?
can see it. It's like a YouTube
Okay, let's
screen.
play the video real quick. It'll only take a couple
Yep.
minutes.
Electroculture farming, also known as electroculture or magnetoculture, is a farming technique that involves the use of electricity to stimulate plant growth and enhance crop yields. The practice involves applying a low-voltage electric current to crops, soil or water to activate the natural growth processes of plants and to improve nutrient uptake, photosynthesis, and cellular respiration. The fundamental concept behind electroculture farming is that plants absorb nutrients more efficiently when exposed to electric or magnetic fields. This theory dates back to the early 1800s, but it was only in the mid-1900s that electroculture farming received serious attention from researchers. In recent years, the technology has seen significant breakthroughs, and farmers have begun experimenting with it. How does electroculture farming works? Electroculture farming works by using electrical energy to stimulate plant growth. The current induces plants to produce more growth hormones, which result in increased growth rates. The technique can also help break down organic matter in the soil, making it more available for plant uptake, and thus improving soil fertility. Electroculture farming can improve the efficiency of photosynthesis, thereby increasing crop yields. This method of farming offers several advantages, including the potential to enhance food production without the need for additional land or water. Additionally, electroculture farming may reduce reliance on chemical fertilizers and pesticides, while conserving soil and water resources. It may also create new job opportunities in rural communities while helping to transition to more sustainable agriculture. While electroculture farming holds tremendous promise, further research is necessary to determine its viability on a large scale. Nevertheless, electroculture farming represents a promising step forward in our quest for sustainable agriculture, and it is an exciting area of research that we will be watching closely in the years to come. What is your thoughts about electroculture farming? Let us know in the comments below.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
That
yeah.
zucchini was monstrous.
I know. So that's I found that video because it was a nice way to explain it. And there's tons and tons of videos on YouTube regarding electroculture.
Mhm.
Um, so
So you have you started this experiment just a couple weeks ago, and you got like a copper coil, or did you get the wire and then coil it yourself? And how do you coil it? How
well,
big do
what I
you
did
coil
was,
it?
yeah, I purchased the wire and coiled it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my first experience Let's see if I can share this.
Do you coil it around like a pencil or something, or do you need something larger like
Yeah.
a dowel?
Well, I tried. I tried that. Let's see. Hang on. It's got a. No, I can't. Can I make that larger? Sorry, I didn't see that message.
No worries.
Share screen. New tab. Let's do new tab. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So my first, you see that?
Yep. The pictures are really tiny though.
My first attempt was with this. This is a 10 gauge copper wire. I did get a picture of. Okay. Anyway, this was my first attempt for out in the garden, and you're supposed to wrap it clockwise for the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise for the southern hemisphere. So this was really hard for me to do because that 10 gauge copper wire is pretty stiff.
Can you double click on the picture where you made the coil? Is it the second one in the top left?
Wait a minute. So yeah, so I bought a little tool, and wait, I'm going to show this to you first. Between 2 weeks between photos of two plants. This is what grabbed my attention when I saw this picture. You see the coil here?
All I see is like 2 rows of photos.
Right here. You see the coil?
Mm-mm.
You see where I'm pointing to it?
Nope.
Oh.
Your mouse might be too small.
Anyway, the one on the right has coils in it, very undeveloped plants. And then 2 coils were put into the soil, which I might need to be using more. And the plant on the left is the result after 2 weeks of having these coils inside the pot.
Is that the one on the bottom row, the first 2 on the second row, or is it that?
You can't see that? Why is that not showing up? Oh, I see. I'm clicking on it, but it's not.
It's not popping up on this screen. It might be popping up somewhere else.
Oh, shucks. Yeah, I'm talking about this one here.
Okay, that one.
Is that showing up now?
I can see that you've shaded it, but I can't. It's really small. I'm gonna make my screen bigger.
Okay. I don't know how to make that larger because I double click on it and it's supposed to
open up,
show you the large picture.
Yeah,
and it's
it
not
looks
doing
like it's opening up. It's probably opening up somewhere else. You know, like under that screen or something.
It's opening up on my screen, nowhere else. I'm sorry. Well, so much for that.
No worries.
So over here on the upper left, I bought this little tool to help me wrap the coil.
It looks like a cone.
Yeah. And you can see the wire underneath it. So then to the right, I started wrapping it. I needed pliers to hold it in place.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Because you said that the wire was really thick. Oh,
maybe
that's a little better.
View. Let's see. Extra large.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Can you see a preview on the right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now we're talking. So, yeah, I bought a couple of these.
Wow.
There's a smaller one, too. Then, so I got a pair of pliers. You got to wrap it clockwise. I'm hoping I went
Uh-huh.
the right direction here. And so I wrapped that around.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left, as you can see in the bottom right there, I left a little antenna. And so here are some places where I placed it.
Oh, I see.
So you see the antenna. These plants are looking pretty bad. I put one here and here. I have some more in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then this will just show you, that's my first one, the crude one. I tried wrapping it around a stick, but the cone made it so much easier. So this
Yeah.
plant, yeah, this plant's not looking so hot.
Yeah.
And I'm just having a tough time with all of my plants out in this particular part of the garden. That's a little better picture.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, so got the antenna. The antenna has to face north, and I just stuck the wire into the ground.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
So, like the point of the coil, does it have like a tail or that you stick in the ground, or do
Yeah,
you
you can
just kind
see
of?
it here. There's a long tail.
Okay.
I tried to get it down a couple inches into the soil
Mm-hmm.
itself, so I had to
Mm-hmm.
go past that mulch. Um, and then here's another one I stuck in. Now I have the deer have been eating my hostas.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuck, is that this morning's picture? Yeah, so I stuck one in here. And this is when I first put it in. And I will tell you that within a foot around that, the plants are growing. These are growing again. I think this is from this morning. I
Wow.
think they're growing again. You can see where the deer have been eating that. But
Mm-hmm.
the one on the right, is grown back. It's growing up. So I was just curious if it would repel the deer somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is maybe it is. Maybe it is.
And it can grow back.
Yeah, so this is one of the earlier ones. And I also put my first test was a very thin, like 24 gauge or 10 24 gauge copper. I got a stick and wrap this all around.
Uh-huh.
And so what's happening is these buds, I've been having trouble getting this to grow. These are lavenders plants.
Ah, okay.
This was practically dead.
Mm-hmm.
And these were, those little buds were not there.
Uh-huh.
So I'm seeing some stimulation, and that bud on the left is starting to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got a hosta that I put this in.
That's encouraging.
And you can see I just wrapped it all up here, put a little antenna up at the top. And this one is growing. Thought I took a picture of that. But those two smaller leaves were not there 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Okay.
That was only 2
Yeah.
weeks ago. That looks like fun.
Yeah, it's been interesting, and it's something productive to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've been doing in my garden. This is I don't know, I took a couple pictures and uploaded them this morning. But this one here, there were no buds there before. And what I've noticed is they're next to this plant. This is a rose bush. I've been struggling with these. I just must not water them enough.
I can see the thorns.
Yeah, and there are no bugs eating those rose bushes now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching for that too. So
That's cool.
that's my little experiment with electroculture. It's the study of utilizing atmospheric energy from the earth and unified field to help cultivate fertility, vitality, growth, and development in plants, animals, and humans. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much it in a nutshell what I'm doing.
So I have a couple of technical questions for you, or not technical, but detailing questions. Like, where do you get the copper from? What does you said 10 gauge was the one that you have in that picture, right?
Yes, and it's hard to curl.
How thick is that?
Because it's
like an eighth of an inch or 2/8 of an inch?
Yeah, I'd say almost an eighth of an inch.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought it off of Etsy. They have a lot of this on Etsy.
Okay.
A lot of people are selling. They actually create the antenna and are selling them.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel they're very overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a reasonably priced coil, and someone somewhere I was reading they recommended 10 gauge. Now, what I could do is get about a 3-foot stick. I could get a 3-foot high stick and just take this 10 gauge and wrap it upwards and see how that works for a taller one.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I just started with the short ones.
And
we'll go from there.
Like you had another one. It looked like it was maybe a 10-inch stick that you had stuck in one of your plants.
Yeah, that was my very first experiment. Let me
And how thick was that?
This is the one I tried wrapping it around a stick. It was too it was too hard to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But the little ones I had. Where is it? So here I had a stick, and this was like a 24 gauge copper.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very easy to work with. So I just got the thing and just started wrapping it.
Right.
And I don't know if you need to wrap that close.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one I did, trying to do it with a stick, but that 10 gauge is much harder to work with. So that's why I went with this. And as you can see, I needed to use pliers,
right.
An old pair of my dad's pliers, to hold that in place while I wrapped it around. I have a smaller one too, but I just thought I'd stick with this one, and therefore came up with this.
And so when you get the copper wire, do you order it off of Etsy? Do you buy it like by the yard or by the 10 yards? Like what's kind of a typical
There's
minimum?
Different sizes. There are different sizes you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I just put this one in. So we're going to see, I'm starting to see more growth up here already inside. I did that about a couple weeks ago. So that's part of my first experiment also. So what other questions do you have?
Yeah, well, so I'm leading to the question of like, well, how much will that run me? Like, would I have to get, say, a yard for the kind of work that you're looking at, or are we looking?
Oh, you could do it you can do less than $25 US.
And that will get you how much?
Yeah, let me see if I
wire?
can. Let me see if I can. Let me. What am I doing here? Let's uncopy this. I'll show you the Etsy. Well, let's go to Etsy and see what we got. Let's close that there. So let me share the screen. Okay, so I'm going to go to Etsy here. We'll just have some fun here.
Mm-hmm.
Share. Okay, so
No,
Well,
we'll just leave it. But the essence of my question is, how many plants, how much yardage or footage did you get in wire, and how many plants, or how large is your plot that you're trying to, experiment
I
with?
think I got 25 feet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think I went with 25 feet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, like 8 yards or so, like under 10 yards. And it looks like a relatively small plot. I mean, it doesn't look like you're.
Right. I don't have, yeah, I have a townhouse. I don't have a lot of land. My whole yard is 27 feet wide.
Mm-hmm. So you've
Um,
got a couple rose bushes, and then, a tree with some plants around it that you're working on, and then a couple of house plants or outdoor house plants.
right. So, okay, I found the page. Let's show you here. There we go. Okay. You see that?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm looking at some tools so I can. So this is an example on the bottom left is an example. Like some people have bamboo sticks,
Mm-hmm.
or I just pulled sticks out of the yard.
Mm-hmm.
But you can buy different kits, different tools to make designs. There's people have some pretty fancy designs, like jewelry making tools.
Right.
But these are some of the pre-made ones here.
Right. Okay.
You can see the prices, but for less than $25, you can make your own.
Uh-huh. And a bunch of them.
So I'm sure they used one of those small tools to curl this so small. And so, but there's all kinds of tools you can get to do that.
Yeah.
And then some of these designs they get pretty fancy. Just to give you an example of what people do.
So those spirals on the bottom left there for 25, that's that tail that gets stuck in the ground like by about 2 inches or so.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. And then the antenna, it's not the coil itself, it's something that's sticking out of it, or is it just the coil like
Well,
that spiggle?
I created an antenna because this old guy that does this recommended it.
Uh-huh.
So I put an antenna up there, but technically that top part is an antenna.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, and you can get more winding tools. Like right here, this copper 25-foot uncoated bare copper
Mm-hmm.
wire. That's only like $25, I think. Where is it?
Right. I think it
Or
was at
look at
the
that,
very top page.
965. So I didn't have to spend a lot of money
Yeah.
to experiment with this, but this just shows you different ways that people have created. So you can get creative with this
Mm-hmm.
and just create little designs. And some people put crystals in the top, um, different apparatuses that they make. So some folks get pretty fancy, uh, cool little designs, some creativity there.
Nice.
And yeah, this one here, that spiral, there's an old see, look how expensive that is to have somebody do that for you.
Yeah. Well, I think
And you can
half the
just,
fun is probably making your own spirals and, seeing
I would
what
agree.
works.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
Rhonda, thank you so
But
much.
I like how creative some of them get really
Uh-huh.
creative and like little flowers at the top.
Those
Something
mushrooms.
that blends in that copper cattail.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so just you can do all kinds of things with them. I just kept it basic.
Very cool.
I haven't figured out yet how much to do, but like some of them, you don't have to. It doesn't look like you really have to wind them too closely.
Mm-hmm.
But the taller, I guess, the taller the better. So my I want to try like a 3 foot one. Eventually, I'll have to get some more. I used up all my copper wire playing around. It was fun to do, Cynthia. I have to tell you.
Good. I think it's really
Yeah.
cool, and I'm so glad that you took a moment to take some pictures and share all this with us. I'm going to be curious to see how some of these plants look by Thanksgiving
Yeah, me too. Uh, Without a doubt.
or sooner.
Yeah, or sooner. So I don't know if the stick makes a difference or not. I kind of figured it didn't, but it did. That they bend easily once you put them in the ground, so that does offer some
Uh
stability
huh.
from what I've seen. There's that one that I have near the plants out there trying. I just was curious if it would distract that deer who's been eating my bird seed, my hostas, but it seems to be doing the trick. But I'm gonna need to get some more copper to do that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, folks, you heard about it here. Join us next week. Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia, 9:30 on Thursday morning.
And have a good week in the
Have an
meantime.
awesome weekend too.
Yeah. Thank you.